Hey, good evening, everyone. So, welcome to yet another LinkedIn Live. We are doing this every week for you to help you build your career in a best possible way. And we are in a learning session, and today we have a topic on learning, lifelong learning mindset, embrace learning to thrive in the future of work. And we have the perfect person for this topic, Yamini Gupta, because she has been sort of doing this and helping many employees in her corporate career doing exactly this. And she has been doing this for a while so that she knows what was there yesterday, what is there today, and what is going to come tomorrow. So I have a perfect person for you to help you guide in this process in the lifelong learning. Let me ask you and people in the audience, give me a thumbs up, like button so that I'll know who is watching us live. Let me ask you, the job you are doing today, were you taught exactly that in your graduation or post graduation? Or did you have to learn that on the job? Or did you have to take extra courses for that? And the job you are going to do 10 years later, do you have any idea what you will be doing? So, what I tell my students is what you are learning today will define your future, right? And now we are talking about technology changing everything very fast. We just saw that in last 2 years. And we are talking about future of work, what we all be doing maybe 5 years, 10 years, 20 years later. And we cannot even imagine that future. So, how should we keep learning so that we will be relevant and productive and build our long-term sustainable careers forever? Do we ever want to get retired? At least not me, right? So how do we build that? And that's the topic for today. So if you are watching us live, just say hi to Yamini. Thank you, Yamini, for accepting my invitation. And we have been talking about this for a while online, but good to
Sure.
have you face to face, online, in person. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Harsha, for having me here. Thanks a lot.
So let me just introduce Yamini. Yamini has 12 plus years of corporate learning and development experience, okay, with corporations like OLX Group, Jubilant FoodWorks. You will know Fasos and Owen Story. I'm a big user of that, and Tata Communications. And she has been career changer herself. So she herself has learned things on the go, changed her career, and now helping large corporations drive learning and development initiatives in large companies. So she knows and she has practically data and understanding of how we learn, how should we keep learning, and what's going to come in our future. All right. So, Yamini, the format is I have few questions for you, and I
Sure.
will expect audience also to keep typing the questions in the comment box. Audience, if you are really chatty today, you want to ask a lot of questions, I will reduce my questions. Okay, I really want this to be an interactive session. So I think we are already having a good amount of hi, Yamini, for you, Shashi. Kiran and Ashwini and Ankita. So
Hi,
thank you so much
everyone.
for joining us live.
Yeah.
Yami, the first question is now, I mean, it's your time to speak. I've been going on for a long time. Why should we keep learning? We keep hearing this thing online from HR people, from business leaders, that future of work is going to be very different. And we might not be relevant, robots are coming, and we are just getting these inputs. And some of us are
Yeah.
also worried about that. So, what is the significance? Why should we? Why do we do? What do we do exactly about this?
Sure. Sure. That's a really good question. And to answer that, we'll have to understand what is future of work really. And if you would have asked this question 3 years back, we would have
Hmm.
gotten really different answers. And I remember 3 years back when I was working with Tata Communications was already in a hybrid work setup where you could take work from home, where you could work remotely. And like Tata
Okay.
Communications, there have been several organizations, big
Mm-hmm.
organizations, global organizations that have encouraged work from home. But if you would have asked this question from an organization with slightly local setup, they would
Mm-hmm.
have not, they would have not encouraged work from home. They would have not encouraged blended working, which
Yes.
has become a reality in 3 years. So
Yes.
the first thing about future of work is it's really uncertain. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot predict with certainty what's going to happen in future and how your work will shape up. Another example for that would be the role of influencers. 10 years back, who would have thought that being a social media influencer could be an actual job? I was
Oh.
in MBA 10, 12 years back. Actually, I was in MBA, and I remember this incident really clearly, that in one of our classes, I don't remember which one, but in one of our classes, and I am a marketing graduate,
Mm.
one of our professors asked everyone in the class that what are your five-year career goals, and everybody
Mm-hmm.
had a role that they had picked out in marketing.
Mm.
Somebody wanted to be in advertising, somebody wanted to write marketing campaigns. Nobody said that they want to become a social media influencer in 5 years or 7 years down the line. So that's the second thing about future of work. We don't know what roles will come up in future, what roles will evolve. What we surely know is, or what we have in control is, how do we prepare ourselves for how we see the future evolving. Today we
Okay.
know, with the advent of edtech and so many MOOC platforms, that learning is really a click away, and learning doesn't have to be paid all the time necessarily. There are so many avenues for you to pick up a free course or a complimentary course just to build your skill set. So I would say that while the future of work would be influenced by machine learning, AI, robotics, blockchain, or any other term that you've heard in the last 5 to 7 years, you might not be able to influence a lot on how the industry is shaping up or how your role in that industry will shape up. But what you can influence is how you would kind of pick up with
Mm-hmm.
those changes,
Mm-hmm.
and how would
Mm-hmm.
you build your skill set and be ready. A lot of you might have switched roles in the last 5 to 7 years, or your role description might have changed. So what
Yes.
we were doing as L&D professionals 7 years back, maybe organizing training, delivering trainings, paying a lot of thought in logistics, that has changed. Today
Yes.
it's more about designing hybrid learning solutions, delivering learning in a virtual setup, actually encouraging people to do self-paced learning courses, because the best of the content is available today on MOOC
Yes.
platforms. So I would say, be ready to evolve with the changes that are happening in the industry and in your organization. And that evolution, or that willingness to learn more and more, will only come from having a learning mindset. And that's why
Okay.
it's
Mm.
really crucial that you have that.
Yeah.
Hope that
Very
answers
precise
the
answer,
question.
Yamini, actually. But now going a little deeper in that sense, do we, I mean, have you seen employees doing it right now? Or, I mean,
Yeah.
most of us believe that now I have a graduation, I have a post graduation, I have picked up skills, and now done, right? And at
Yeah.
least my last generation or the generation before probably didn't have to learn ever again. So education and
Yeah.
learning were synonymous. So if I ask you a direct question, honestly, today, are employees employing this concept of lifelong learning today?
I would answer this question a little differently. So, our understanding of learning is quite formal, in terms that
Okay.
we relate learning with either courses or structured interventions like classroom interventions, whether we are. So let me just put it differently. If we are attending a workshop, doing a course, or going for a certification, or going for a supplementary education program, we think we are
Yes.
learning. But
Okay.
that's not just learning. Learning could
Mm.
also be asking for advice from your
Mm.
colleague. Learning could also be finding a mentor within your organization. Learning
Yeah.
could also come from a focus group discussion on an emerging technology. So whether how you are actually delivering your role or how you are living your work life and personal life on a day-to-day basis also influence the amount of learning that you have. Now let me take an example here. In Google, long back they used to even today they would have this, that 2% or 10% of the time that an employee has,
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
dedicate to their passion projects. And Google Maps and a
Exactly.
lot of Google products that we know have come out as a result of that. In fact, there
Yes.
is a structured program that Google runs called Googler to Googler, which means that a
Okay.
peer, a Googler to Googler, it's called, which means that any Google employee, whatever skill they have, they can actually run classes or run workshops or run talks to
Wow.
teach that skill or to transfer that knowledge to fellow colleagues. So that's
Yeah.
not structured learning, but it's
Yes.
still learning.
Yes.
And a lot of modern learning is influenced by peer to peer, which is a colleague to colleague, or Googler to Googler, or whatever your organization is. You can just use the terminology, and that's also learning. So essentially, what I'm saying is that learning can happen in multiple ways, but
Yes.
whether you are
Mm-hmm.
learning or not is something that you should ask yourself. Also, at the same time, to answer your question now, straightforward, Harshad, is the concept accepted or not? I think the concept is accepted at an implicit level. If each
Okay.
one of us are picking up new skills, acquiring new knowledge, trying to deliver our roles, assignments, be more, grow more. But whether it's accepted at an organizational level, yes or no? Yes, because most organizations have started investing in learning and development verticals, talent
Yes.
development, capability development verticals. But still, a lot of organizations are really struggling with developing a
Oh.
concentrated or a strong skill set in employees. So we still have a long way to go in convincing employees to actually build the skill set of tomorrow, but the ecosystem is there. So it's acceptable, but it's probably not adopted that greatly. That would be my answer to your short question.
No, no, perfect, perfect, Yamini. So you kind of have told us now that even this LinkedIn Live is part of learning.
Yeah.
I'm sure audience has already learned a lot from Yamini. So just say yes if you agree with my statement that even this LinkedIn Live, even this 10, 15, 30 minutes together, even that engaging that curiosity, at least knowing, yes, this is a thought process, uh, knowing another person and getting that idea is also learning, even though it's not a course. Uh, but Yamini, my one more thing is, and let me ask the audience as well, how many of you are putting few hours every week for learning? Okay, in the sense, even though we are constantly learning on social media or on the job, but a bit of focused learning, how many of you are putting a few hours, and what how many number of hours you are putting? So Yamini, back to you. Do you think
Yeah.
employees are willing to accept that yes, it is a thing, and even if my company provides me or doesn't, how many of us really put in time to, or time and effort and focus, I mean equal, to do this actually?
Yeah, that's again a good and interesting question. And I have also been trying to figure out an answer to this, that what magic formula I can use to ensure that 100% of employees are learning, at
Yeah.
least on the programs that we believe are important for them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what I have realized is that learning is actually a function of motivation. If you are
Oh.
motivated
Hmm,
to
hmm,
learn a
hmm.
new thing, or if you are trying to solve a problem, a challenge, and you see a relevant program to that problem or challenge that you are solving, or a role that you want to aspire for, or a skill that has been always on your mind and you're not that great at that, but you want to be better at it because you've seen your colleagues doing a better job or your leader doing a better job at it, you would definitely learn. So it's a function of motivation and
Mm-hmm.
having the right learning program at the right time. My learning needs would be very different from you,
Yeah.
Harshad. and
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
learning needs would be very different from the audience who joined. Somebody is
Yeah.
interested
Yeah.
in leadership development, somebody
Yes.
is
Yes.
interested in technical functional skills. So I think it's a matter of what do we want to learn and at what time. Now if that motivation is there, sometimes the resources are not there. You really want to do a program on analytics, say from Wharton, but your organization doesn't have that program on a MOOC provider called Coursera. So if
Sure.
you don't have the right resource, you'll not be able to learn. Or you
Mm.
really want to learn, you have the right resource. Sometimes it happens that there are employees asking for say a very popular program in most organizations is people manager capability, first time people manager, or how to be a
Yes.
great people manager. And
Yes.
you organize a workshop and there are people who want to attend it also, but sometimes there are emergencies in your role and you have to be available, a business review or a meeting that you cannot say no to at the last minute. So time also has to be time is also a commodity, and you
Yes.
need to have the time to dedicate to that
Yes.
learning. So I think it's a
Yes.
combination of all these factors that have to
Mm.
be
Mm.
right at the right time for you to learn. And most people, and even above this, there is a certain population in every organization that I have seen, and I've worked with a few organizations, and I've seen that always in an organization there is a population of 20 to 30% people who are so extremely self-motivated that they
Yeah.
want to learn
Yeah.
everything. In every
Everything. Yeah.
program you will see the same set of people because they're supercharged, super motivated. But for the rest of us, we need that extra push, we need that reminder. Somebody needs to remind us, somebody needs to create
Yeah.
capacity for us on the calendar, or somebody needs to give us the right program because we cannot search for it on our own. So it's really a function of your personality and how much emphasis that you give to your learning priorities, and being aware that I want to learn this. Sometimes we all feel that, okay, I think I should do a certification, but which certification I don't know.
We-
So that
Yeah.
awareness also has to be there, I think. So to answer your question, I would say that there are all kinds of learning personas or learning people with different learning preferences. There are always a certain section of people, say 20 to 30% in every organization, who will be always learning no matter what. But the rest 70% need that extra nudge or extra push to to kind of prioritize learning.
Great, great. Audience, so I just have couple of more questions. So let your questions start coming. Already I have couple of questions from the audience, but keep me busy with your questions. Uh, Yamini, just little more on the same thing what you were saying. Okay. Now, inside my organization, whether organization gives me resources or gives me time or outside, but learning is finally I am learning. Okay. I will
Yeah,
improve myself, whether for
yeah.
this organization for or for life, whatever. Can you help us identify how should I go about learning? I mean, identifying my learning patterns. There are so many resources these days. uh, how should I go about it?
That's a very interesting question. And you kind of hit the nerve there, Harshit, because the amount of learning I'll do or the
Hmm.
interest that I'll take in upskilling myself will always be a
Mhm.
function of my own personality and my own
Yes.
preference. So I'll take my example. I prefer reading over watching videos.
Oh, okay.
And that's because I'm a fast reader. I can read like articles, lengthy articles, essays really quickly on an app if you compare it with the average. But I cannot watch videos faster because there is a speed at which you can comprehend spoken word.
Yes.
Even if
Yes.
you increase the playback speed, it will take
No,
a hit
no.
on your comprehension. So I
Yes.
would always prefer reading articles. So if there is anything that I don't know, or if there is a new technology or a new topic or something new that's going to interest me, I'll always prefer reading an article on that or
Yes.
reading a
Yes.
one pager. Even
Yes.
when I do courses on MOOC platforms like Coursera, Udemy, or Skillsoft, I actually start reading their transcripts because I can read the transcript
Yeah.
faster than watching those videos. So I know what's my style. I would always
Mm.
prefer reading first, build a baseline,
Mm.
and then I would prefer to have a discussion with someone. maybe a
Okay.
colleague or a fellow somebody in the same fraternity like you, Harshad, or my colleague, or my ex-colleague from a different organization. I'll just call up and have a discussion and exchange best practices. I'll ask them, what do you do on this topic, what's been your understanding, and just connect with like-minded, or connect with people in the same area, so that I can
Mm-hmm.
enhance my understanding. I've seen a lot of people who would actually want to whiteboard everything. If they are,
Mm-hmm.
even if they are not trying to solve a problem, they'll just try to draw charts on the whiteboard and understand
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
this thing works. And then they'll want to pick up a project or an assignment to enhance their understanding. So you have to ask yourself what works the best. Maybe reflect on the assignments or projects that you have done in the past, and what was
Mm-hmm.
your style. Did you like it by creating documents? Did you actually do better by working in groups, or by brainstorming, or by doing focus group discussions? Or did you actually were you motivated by pressure? Somebody created
Mm-hmm.
pressure on you, and then you kind of picked up everything and delivered things faster. Reflect on your past achievements, past
Yeah.
learnings, and past projects, and figure out your style. And then customize everything to your style so that you can pick up skills faster.
Yeah,
That'll
perfect.
be my
So, like,
answer.
yes, yes. So, reflect on your style is the central
Yeah.
word, I think, for this entire webinar. Yes, we should be doing learning constantly, but how is Yamini just told us? Just reflect on last course you took, or maybe during your college days. How were you like, right? I remember, Yamini, you are absolutely right. Even looking at people, right? Suppose in a lecture, some people look
Yeah.
at you, you are
Yeah.
delivering lecture. Some people actually just listen to you, they put their ears
Yeah.
in your direction,
Yeah.
so which learning
Yeah.
style they are. And
Yeah.
as you said, some people like
True.
to read rather than watch,
Yeah.
and some people
Yeah.
like group discussion, right? They really
Yeah.
are in that zone. And as you said, even
Hmm.
if you teach others, you learn sometimes
Hmm.
on the job, and some skills are to be learned on the job, so doing a project and
Hmm.
doing that. So pick up
Hmm.
your style and maybe mix and match. And now I think all these platforms give you multiple things. As you just said, videos are also there, but the transcript is also there. So you can, I think, customize, or just like making a recipe for yourself.
Absolutely.
And I think that's
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's perfect. That's perfect. So let me take a question from the audience, which has already come. So on the similar topic, I guess Suresh is asking, kindly advise how we can be self-motivated for the continuous learning. And the second question is, so many options are available, it becomes difficult to select which topic to learn. So I think, how can we be self-motivated and which topic to learn? Because Yamini, I think sometimes this social media confuses us with a lot of options. I think my personal thing is on Netflix. I sometimes spend more time in choosing what to watch rather than actually
Yeah.
watching it. So, and then I
Yeah.
do not watch it entirely. So,
Yeah, I
how
know.
should
I
we
know what
go
you're
about
saying. I think that's the problem with aggregators. It's the
it?
same thing with Netflix, Amazon Prime. It's the same thing with Zomato and Swiggy. When you have to order,
Mhm.
you will spend so much time in selecting what food to order. There is a word for this. It's the paradox of choice. When you have too
Yes,
many choices,
yes.
it's very difficult. So to answer your question, Suresh, how do we motivate ourselves? I think the first thing to, even before motivating yourself, the first thing is to expand the understanding of learning. Learning doesn't have to be formal. Learning doesn't have to be dependent on the course. Learning
Mhm.
doesn't have to be a certificate at the end of it. Learning
Yeah.
is anything which encourages you to know more, be more, and do more.
Mhm.
So, if you cannot find time in your routine to actually pursue a course or pursue a workshop, I would recommend that you try this exercise that I have done in the past. Whatever
Okay.
you are doing, just push yourself to do something extra and do a better job every time you do the same thing.
Mm,
So,
mm.
for example, if you are making a presentation, the kind of presentation that you are making today and the kind of presentation that you made yesterday, there has to be some change in that. If you
Yeah.
push yourself to do a little extra and to be a little better every single day, you will automatically start learning in the process. So what you can do is, if you are making, say, if you are writing a document on say blockchain, just for taking an example, just research a bit more, and then write your document, or read an article on it before writing your document, or talk to someone before writing your document. So essentially what I'm saying is, just figure out ways to do whatever you are doing every day at your job, and do it better. That's one way. And second is to actually have goals in life. You should know what you want to do 6 months down the line, 10 months down the line, 2 years down the line. If you have a goal post that you are targeting. So when I 6 years back, I knew I wanted to get into leadership development as a role, which is why I started learning more about how to structure learning interventions, how to do stakeholder interviews and stuff. If you have a goal post, you can automatically break it down into mini goals, and then kind of motivate yourself to learn. A great book on this topic is Atomic Habits. If you can just read that book, it will help you set goals and kind of use that to motivate yourself to learn. That's my answer. And so many options available, it becomes difficult to select which topic to learn. Again, your goals, whatever goals you have set,
Yeah.
use a
Yeah.
priority mechanism to kind of prioritize only one thing in a month, or one thing in 6 months, whatever time you have. The only thing that you should use as a benchmark is incremental improvement. Every day
Mm.
you should do a little better than yesterday, and then you are learning.
Ah, perfect. I mean, great answer. I think you made us understand that first is you have a slightly long-term goal where you want to
Yeah,
go, which sets you the
yeah,
direction at least, and I think that
yeah,
could be the motivation at least in the long term. But
yeah.
how can we put that bigger goal into smaller chunks is what you told us, that every day
Mm,
little, I mean, 1%
mm,
better than yesterday, right? I think
mm.
we know that thing, right? Every day 1% better, better, better. It's a compounding effect actually.
Compound effect,
And
yes,
even
absolutely.
a simple skill, which
Yeah.
is presentation skill, you end
Mm,
up improving so much more. And I think Atomic Habits exactly tells you that we
yeah.
all of us put long term goals, in the sense every
Mm.
1st January we put new resolutions. But what we fail
Yeah,
to do is the short term things, like every day what do I
yeah,
do? So in a day I
yeah.
can do only
True.
one thing, right? Hardly one thing.
Mm,
So
mm.
let it be this, okay, this is my presentation, let me do it a little better. Or this is the way
Yeah,
I let me do this a little better. So just breaking that into smaller chunks. Really, really, this is another golden advice today, Yamini. Um, Suresh has asked another question: which are better
okay.
portals for learning, which also
Mm,
have community so that we can take support and guidance? Because this is another point, like Yamini, like just these
mm,
online courses
mm,
make it very easy
mm,
and affordable, but we
mm,
lose interest, and that's what the statistics are, right? Just
mm,
5%,
mm,
9% completion rates
mm,
of
mm,
purely online courses. And Yamini, if I
mm,
remember, like I think around 2011, 12, when Coursera came, and I was just you can say enthusiast of online learning back then. I was not working in that. They
mm,
had proposed that now colleges will go away, it will all be online,
mm.
and because they
Yeah,
were
yeah,
bringing Stanford
yeah,
colleges online,
yeah,
so what's the
yeah.
requirement of colleges? But I think everyone understood that it just putting videos online is not enough, and there
Yeah,
is
it's
more
not
to
enough.
it.
It's the environment. Correct, correct.
Yes.
Cool.
So how do
So,
we? And if you have any
mm,
recommendations for Suresh?
yes. So, one way to categorize which portal would work the best for you is to actually see what do you want to learn, because most of these platforms have some expertise. For example, if your organization has a Skillsoft
Yeah.
is really good in giving courses on leadership, people manager capability, and they are also working in the space of digital transformation. You will find really good content in these areas on Skillsoft. If you
Okay.
have Udacity or Riley, ACG, Pluralsight in your organization, that would help you a lot in the space of technical and functional upskilling
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
engineering and tech topics. So, data science, data analysis, programming, artificial intelligence, machine learning, O'Reilly, ACG, Pluralsight, and Udacity. These are really great platforms to help you in that area. In Coursera you get everything. On Coursera you get everything from happiness to analysis to appreciative inquiry to leadership development. Name anything, and then you will probably have a course on that on
Yeah.
Coursera. In fact, there are really good courses that I recommend everyone on
Mm-hmm.
Coursera on design thinking and data analytics, even learning and development. On LinkedIn Learning also, in fact, LinkedIn Learning is another
Yes,
platform. And if you take a premium, Harshad, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you take a
exactly.
premium subscription to LinkedIn, you automatically get complimentary access to LinkedIn Learning. And they
Exactly.
have also great courses. So that's one
Yes.
way to categorize. Another way to categorize is by your appetite. How much can you learn
Yes.
on a topic? Maybe
Yeah.
you just want to know that much and be done with it. So if you want to do shorter programs like two
Mhm.
hours 1 hour 30 minutes, then LinkedIn Learning, Skillsoft are really good even
Yes.
edX and Udemy, because you will
Yes.
find shorter
Yes.
courses. Although I don't prefer Udemy that much, because anybody can upload a course there, and
Mhm.
some of the content is really not validated, so you have to spend some time in picking and choosing, even the ones that have a price tag to it. But Udemy also have really great courses. I remember there is a course called Learn Programming in 100 Days on
Mhm.
Udemy. It's one of the fantastic courses on programming for beginners that you'll come across. So Udemy has a range from
Yes.
not so good to excellent courses. But if you want
Yes.
to go deeper and build fungible skill set,
Mhm.
actually learn something and do it in projects and assignments, then Coursera is
Mhm.
the best platform.
Is the best. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
that would be my
I
advice.
mean, I mean, your answers are so, I mean, all-rounded actually. So yes, Udemy, I think, gives these reviews, right? So where you can actually pick up courses validated by others at least, may not be by university or something,
Yeah,
but they are good for
yeah,
short-term learning. LinkedIn Learning is really good. The quality is really good. Again, very
yeah.
short-term learning. You can pick up, and I think these atomic habits, what we talked about. So LinkedIn, I think, gives you a goal also that 30 minutes
Yeah,
every week, so you
yeah.
can keep on improving. But as you rightly said, fungible, like you can actually put something on your resume sometime later, then I think Coursera will be a better way to go for certificate courses. One more recommendation from me, and we are on this topic. I think it's one of the top 10 highest taken courses on Coursera, which is Learning to Learn. Okay, and it is my
Yeah.
personal favorite actually. It just
Okay.
cuts across any skill or
Yeah.
any domain. It is like how, and you also talked about your own style. So I think it helps you identify what are various learning ways, how people are different, and even active learning, passive learning. Whenever you're learning, how can you be more active? And I think there is a lot of psychology and neuro science behind it, and it's one of the
Yeah.
best courses from the
Yeah.
yes. So Suresh is saying thank you to you actually, and also Jude. Thank you so much. I think one more similar question is, which websites you recommend for investment banking and soft skills and or soft skills?
Investment banking, I won't know because I haven't
Yeah.
worked in that space.
Yeah.
I remember for when I was in Paytm and we were trying to work out some content in the space of banking, we were getting it customized because we didn't get much from anywhere.
Mm,
So I think maybe for investment banking, you will have to depend upon customized workshops. But try searching on Coursera or Udemy or edX. Maybe they'll have something. I would really not know on banking. But for soft skills, LinkedIn Learning and
mm,
Skillsoft would be the best
yeah. Yeah.
providers, I would say, and then maybe Coursera and Udemy. But LinkedIn Learning and Skillsoft to actually give you the right direction. I think these two platforms you will find the best content on soft skills.
Niranjan, a hack from my side is, I will tell you how you find this answer is, in if you are in investment banking or you want to get in, I think you can find enough people on LinkedIn, and if they are
Yeah.
showing something on their profile, okay, if it's from Coursera or on any other platform, they are saying something that I'm certified in something, you may want to take those courses and even
Very
ask
good
them where
idea.
did you get it, right? I think in this
Excellent.
case, because you are asking for a very specific domain related niche skill, I think it's better to get a validated course in that niche and ask people around it. You may find courses on all platforms, but they might not be the best one. Or if you're looking for a career in that, I think you might want to get which is generally recommended by people in that. That is an answer for everyone who is looking for a niche skill, right? I think you may want to ask
Absolutely.
people, or maybe just look them up online on LinkedIn, and what are they putting on their profile as their skill, as
Really good
their
idea.
certificate.
Yeah.
I mean,
True.
sometimes, Yamini, it's just like how you find the answer, right? I mean, answers are all there online sometimes or
Yeah.
with people. It
Yeah.
is just,
Yeah.
how do you find that
It's
which is.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's, by the way, that is my role actually here as a career coach, Yamini, that, people are confused, honestly, and
Yeah.
they just need
Yeah.
that guidance and a path from me,
True.
honestly.
True. You're doing it
Uh,
very well, I must say.
thank thank you. Jude is asking the tech platform websites apart from
Yeah.
Udemy, could those websites made a mention of on the group chat?
How do we do that? We can write it down for them.
Okay, okay. You want us to put them? Okay. Uh, I'm not sure. I haven't. No, can't post comments. Sorry, Jude. We'll not be able to put comments on LinkedIn. It is showing me, this tool is telling me that I cannot put any comments. But yeah, I mean, if you can just maybe say it right now, I'll put that
Yeah,
later.
I can. I can. So one is Code Academy for tech. Another is O'Reilly, O and then Riley, REILLY. For cloud, it is a cloud guru. And then there is another one, plural site, PLURAL, plural, site, SIGHT. And then the next one is Udacity, UDACITY, Udacity. These are really good portals. In fact, there are too many portals. You will be able to find
Yeah.
anything and everything on tech within these five portals.
Yes, yes, yes. So Manish is saying, thanks, Yamini, for insights about learning, particularly about informal learning and relevance to professional leverage. Uh,
Thank you.
Kiran is asking you now a very direct question that you said you can read fast. How did you do it?
I
How can
can
we do it?
actually.
How
I
can
finish
we
books in
learn?
2 days, maximum
Wow.
2 or 3 days, along with my very hectic work schedule because I work like 10 hours minimum every single day, where I can read very fast. The secret is that in our family, my family, everybody reads. So when we were kids, my father reads way too much. My mom reads, so we used to compete. The three of us, me, my sister, my brother, we used to compete who will read the comic book fastest so that we get the next book. So I think it's a matter of practice. I've been reading a lot since the beginning and I love reading books. I would always prefer reading a book than maybe spending my Friday outside in the traditional ways in which we spend our Fridays. So I think it's a matter of interest because I read. I've been reading and I love reading. I push myself to read faster. But there are ways that they teach to MBA aspirants. So if you are an MBA aspirant or if you've been an MBA aspirant, you would remember that there are techniques that they teach you like skimming and scanning and
Mhm.
timing your reading. So they'll give you passages, unseen passages, and then you'll read it faster to increase your comprehension and kind of build practice by skimming and scanning lines. So that can help you. I don't remember what was the book because 12 to 15 years back I saw that book. There was one book on vocabulary, Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis, but there was another book on reading, how to read fast, I think by Norman Lewis only. But they'll tell you this: learn to read more and more, and then you will automatically develop the skill. I think that would be
Uh,
the
Yamini,
idea,
I'm
Kiran.
very bad at reading actually, at least till 2 years back. What I found was eye movement is equally important. Okay, those who don't read
Yeah,
that much. Okay, and now
yeah,
with screens, actually, we have lost that ability to, and
very good
even
point.
they say Swami Vivekananda used to see the entire line in one go. That's why, I mean, sometimes, the way you parse the line in 2 3 words format. And
Yeah.
so the trick which worked for me was like literally, like using your pen or a finger to point at the words, so that your eyes move properly. Otherwise, actually, it is said that your eyes go up and down, and your brain doesn't get proper inputs, in the sense it sort of doesn't
Yeah,
read properly.
absolutely.
Or
Yeah,
if you remember
very
earlier, we
good.
used to put a ruler like this, right, like going up and down, so only that line
Yeah,
is visible, or something like this. So
yeah,
sometimes it can be a bit technical
yeah,
to, it's a skill finally.
yeah.
So, as
These are
Yamini
like
said, more you
good.
do it.
You're giving hacks to people to actually learn faster. That's great, Harshad. Yeah, I think these are good tips. Very good tips.
Yes, Jude is, I think, saying Norman Lewis how to read a book, probably.
Yeah,
Then
and another book that Jude has recommended. Thank you, Jude. Yeah, these are good suggestions. I think
how
I was
to read
talking
a
about
book,
this book only. Yeah,
Mortimer Adler.
no, the other one, How to Read a
Other
Book
one.
by Norman Lewis. Yeah,
Perfect, perfect. Uh, Jasmine is saying, what is the name of the course? Jasmine, we don't know which one you're talking about. Sorry,
which
because we
course?
talked about, yeah, so many courses. And Jasmine, if you have
Yeah.
just joined, you can just, after this ends, you can rewind 10 minutes, because Yamini gave us, like, for different niche and different skills, she gave us pointers to which websites to use. Okay. I mean, if just last question from my side is, any obstacles you have seen in learning? Isn't like we just talked about, maybe eye movements or motivation, or because what I feel is, we it needs persistence also, right? I mean,
Yeah.
cook in a 2 days, I think it's really, I mean, you're a record holder, I feel. But otherwise, any skill needs a
Yeah.
month, 2 months, 3 months, probably a
Yeah.
tangible outcome. Even in presentations, as you said, 1% every day. But to take to a next step, it needs that much. So many of us leave in between. Or no, have you seen any obstacles people face?
Yeah, I think we expect way too much from ourselves,
Okay.
and
Okay.
we sometimes set unrealistic goals. Unrealistic
Mm.
because we have way too much going on in our lives. I think nobody in this day and time who's working in corporate or running their own business or running their own venture like you, Harshad, nobody would say that they don't have stress. Everyone
Yeah.
has stress, everyone has stressful lives, and we have family commitments, personal commitments. So even if you are not able to achieve your personal goals, don't get disappointed, I would say that. And I'll
Mm.
take an example here. From the last 4 years, I've been trying to tell myself that I learn how to create dashboards on Excel. I really don't
Okay.
need to do it. In my own roles, I
Oh my
never
God.
needed to create dashboards because either I had a separate teams who could
Yeah.
create
Yeah.
dashboards or I had platforms. I never needed to create dashboards, but out of interest, I wanted to. For the
Mm-hmm.
last 4 years, I am thinking this, that I will learn. And only a few weeks back, I could find the time and capacity to be able to create a dashboard like I wanted to. So sometimes it might take you 4 years, 5 years to learn something. The only thing is that you have to be just at it. Don't get disappointed if you are not able to do it. Sometimes you
Yeah.
would want to do something, but it will not be urgent for you, which is why it
Yes.
will continue to get deprioritized. The only benchmark that you should have is that you should be learning something or the other at regular interval. Maybe one day is too steep a target, maybe one week is decent. Every week spend 5 minutes. When used to work with American Express, and I think it will be a good example because one of my leaders there said that every Friday she used to set up 30 minutes on her calendar, and she would
Mm.
reflect on the week the
Yeah.
week that she
Yeah.
spent, and
Yeah.
reflect on what did she learn. And she was an amazing leader, grew really fast in American Express. And that's a practice that has stayed with me. Maybe you can also take 30 minutes, 15 minutes every week and think about what did you learn and what
Yeah.
would you want
Yeah.
to carry. So I think the
Yeah.
only obstacle to your learning is your own mindset. If you can just work with and I don't want to sound like a I don't want to give a technical term to you, but really, if you can work with a growth mindset where you can encourage yourself to learn something,
Yeah.
there'll be really no obstacle, because the only thing that matters is that you move on and you don't get stuck.
I think there will be obstacles, but Yamini, as you said, one day and 1 week is a short enough time
Yeah,
span for us to, just maybe take one step ahead and reflect back,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah. True,
those many minutes
true.
per day, if you can just, I think that's what they say about book reading also. It just, let's say, I am also doing it that every day morning before I start my work, 20 minutes for book reading, right? Just
Yeah,
slotting that time
great,
itself is enough, and then
great.
you
Yeah,
are at it, and maybe at the end
yes,
of the week you reflect that how much did you
yeah,
do. Did you spend 20 minutes every day? All right, next week maybe make that change, make that
yeah,
tuning. I think one day and
absolutely.
1 week should be good enough time span. And I think coming back to, we are living in a dynamic environment, so don't expect too much that in 1 month, 3 months things will happen. I think one day,
Yeah,
1 week should be good enough time span for us to
yeah, true,
do things.
true, absolutely,
Thank you. And
absolutely.
just maybe last two questions, Yamini.
Yeah,
Advice
sure.
a lot of executive program from reputed institute.
Yeah, yeah. So, Shashik, interesting question. Actually, there are a lot of good programs. If you are willing to do satellite programs, or depends upon your preference. Do you want to do satellite programs? Do you want to do in-person programs? Because a lot of in-person programs have opened up. So you can do executive MBA from any of the IIMs if you like. You can also do it from XLRI or TISS Bombay. All of them have good executive level programs for working
Yes.
professionals. If you are interested in a specialization, so Wharton, Stanford, they also Harvard, they also have a lot of executive programs that you can do remotely. I know
Remotely.
for
Yes.
two,
Yes.
3 years back, they used to have these programs where you would have to go only once to their campus. So if your organization can sponsor it, part sponsor it, maybe you can enroll for that. And even if not, and still you want to go for specialization program, you can enroll for distance learning, or distance learning is probably is not the right word for the kind
Yeah.
of course curriculum. So remote learning, you can if you're interested in that, then you can enroll for those as well.
Yeah. So if you are short on time, or just cannot leave your job and the location, I think these online learning programs would be
Yeah,
good choice, right? Like any
yes,
face-to-face would need it,
absolutely.
and I think it will need your organization support also in that
Yeah,
case.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
so
true, true.
I hope Shashi got his answer. And Manish is saying apprehension that learning soft skills do not give a weightage to CV. How do you consider it seriously as upskilling? Do you agree with this, Yamini? I mean, at least for senior professional, how much do you weight
Um,
soft skills?
Depends upon the kind of skill that you have learned and
Hmm.
the role that you are applying for. For example, and Harshad, you might agree that over the last 5 to 7 years, we have seen a lot of interest in upskilling, especially in mid to senior level folks, in
Yes.
upskilling
Hmm.
as a coach. A lot
Yes.
of professionals actually go for coaching certification from ICC, or
Yes.
I'm forgetting
Yes.
NLP,
ICF.
and
ICF.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, sorry, ICF, sorry, and NLP, and that's a good skill to have actually, and a lot of organizations give weightage to you if you are a
Hmm.
certified coach. Of course, only having the certificate or
Hmm.
only having the completion record of a skill is not enough. You should be able to demonstrate that skill, or you should be able to apply that skill as well. With technical and functional skills, it's way easier to apply, because if
Yeah.
you've learned coding, you can either code, or you so let me be more specific. If you've learned Python, you can either code in Python or you cannot. But
Not.
if
Yeah.
you've learned a soft skill, or a better word, or a more preferred word for these skills these days is behavioral or power skills, there is a range of demonstration,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
I can be a really good orator for some people, and for some people, I can be only average.
Yes.
Because soft skills or behavioral skills are so subjective in nature, it really depends upon the role that you are applying for. So, for
Mm,
example, if you're
mm.
applying for marketing and advertising, they would
Yeah.
expect you to have
Yes.
the
Exactly.
really premium and excellent communication skills in written, spoken, everywhere. But if you are, say, in a role, a tech role, or if
Yes.
you are in a role in finance or accounting, there might be a lot of emphasis on how well you are able to influence people, and
Yes.
not
Yes.
how fluent you are in English. And if you are committing zero grammatical mistakes, that might not be of that much relevance. But your influencing skills, your negotiation skills, and your ability to influence a lot of people would be more relevant. So there's a whole spectrum, which is why a lot of subjectivity comes in behavioral skills. So
Mm,
you really
mm.
have to see a combination of your role and the skill that you've learned.
Yeah, yeah. So I think, yeah, relevant to role, and can
Yeah.
you demonstrate that? Maybe
Yes,
at
absolutely.
that time, or have you demonstrated that in your earlier career? And can you show that story that at that time, or it was part of my job in my last job, that this skill was required, and I probably could achieve that success because of that skill. So as Yamini said, it is not easy to assess that also for an HR to, Python can be assessed using a test actually, which is a bit
Yeah.
easier to assess, and a coding test. But I think soft skill is not easy to assess. So maybe can you show and demonstrate that skill, maybe through past experience, or maybe in actual. And even sometimes,
Absolutely.
Yamini, I think a portfolio can help. Maybe if just for
Yeah.
communication, maybe a video of yours, like that, so
Yeah.
that you are
Yeah.
basically showing you that, and you are making a point. If that is the paramount skill for that role, I think you should be able to, or you should do that.
Fair enough.
I think
Yeah.
along with,
Good
just
point,
like
actually.
for a Python coder, he would put his online coding profile or something. Can you put that actually? So I think Manish got the point actually. Learn something or the other regularly. And Shashi is also thanking us for your executive program answer. Great, great. So many questions. Thank you, audience. I think we went the longest, Yamini, today. Thank you so much for
Good,
spending time
Jack.
with us. And you were so direct and precise. Your answer started and stopped at exactly the time. Like your thought process. Just loved the thought process. And
Thank you.
now I know a bit more about you, that you are a champion in reading. So I'm sure you
Yeah.
must be a record holder. I think if you can approach, or you can maybe approach
Yeah,
Guinness Book.
I actually in college people used to come to me and say, "I have read 10 pages in this much time. Is it okay reading?" And I used to, I was the like the validation mechanism for how much you've read in how much time. But yeah, I don't get that much time. But whenever I do, I love reading. I enjoy reading a lot.
And you are the live example of lifelong learning, so that's what we wanted actually. And that's what, and so everybody is saying thank you, Yamini, from all of us, for spending time
Yeah,
with us. And
thank
I'm
you.
sure you are still working, so taking 1 hour from your work actually. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much,
Yamini.
Harshal, for having me. And it was a really interesting topic. And thank you for running it in such an interactive way. And thank you so much to the participants for joining.
Participants and audience, yes, yes,
Yeah.
you kept us busy. Thank you,
Yeah.
bye.
Yeah. Thank you.